All right, welcome everybody. Now in today's lecture, we are going to be doing the overview of what we did last week. And from the overview, we'll move straight to what we have to do today. Now, today is very, very important because we'll be looking at 2 or 3 of those languages. Now, we are going to be checking them. Now, let me just quickly scroll to the slide as we have it. We are not going to be doing the welcoming. Everything has been done before. So the goal has been cleared. And so today we'll be facing how to design a simple website for your business. So it may be for your office, for your business, for whatever. So that's what we are going to be doing today, the simple website. So we are going to lay the foundation today. And according to our timetable, we'll be doing week 2, week 3 timetable. So today, being the week 2, we'll focus on what the week 2 has to give us. So I'm just quickly scrolling this out so that we can move to what we have to do today. We've been able to attempt all this, what data is all about, and how data related to us. Data, like we know, is very, very important. When we see, when we hear, and when we feel, when we touch, that is how we get information. And again, how do the information that we get, you see, you feel, you hear, how do we process those information? We process it from our mind or our brain. So those ones are some of those things. So the finished goods that we've done, finished process thing that we've done, we store them in our brain. And how do we get data? How do we process the data? How do we store the data? They are the 3 important questions. And those questions are the fundamental of what we are doing. Now, in the computer world, we know it as the way a computer handles things. FIFO, first in, the way computer handles things, first in, first out, and last in, first out. Those are computer processes. And relating that to a programming world, we now have this image that we are able to say, okay, that seeing, feeling, touching that we are getting data from, related down to a website. So if somebody have a website today, you only go there to get something about the company or just information. But the processing part of it, so the coding actually helps in the processing, which we've been able to do. So now, and the storage part is the database. We've explained that. So we now have it broken down into field. We have the website, the coding, the website and the coding being on top. 2 of them is sitting on the programming. Now, the reason why it is web programming here, because it involves websites and coding. So it is a web programming. And everything that the web programmer does is stored in the database. Now, the website and the coding itself can be split into 2. And that is why we have something called the client side and the server side. Client side, server side. So client side is everything that has to do with the website that you are seeing. That is what the client people will see. Now the server side has to do with the coding. Nobody see that. It's in the server. It's far away. So we have example of the server side languages, example of the server side languages. And of course, we all now can say much about all this because our classwork was based on this. So we actually talked more about that. So some of us have actually worked that. So we move further by explaining the difference between some of this nomenclature, web app. So we just try to explain those nomenclature because people always mix them together. Web app, website application, web application. They are what I'm going to be saying concerning this is that a web application can be likened to a desktop application, that somebody install, works on your system, like your CorelDRAW, your Microsoft Office, they are all standalone application. Now, a app, I've related that, can be something that is in your phone, but they are all application. But if somebody say apps, what should come to your memory is something that has to do with application that runs on the browser, or application that has to do with phone, tablet. So that's what should come to, just to differentiate the nomenclature. So moving forward, we explain our tool, the Visual Studio thing that we'll be using, the Visual Studio. So I've done a good job setting up Visual Studio in some of our system. And what we can do ASP.NET Framework, and we can do ASP.NET Core. Now, we are going to see more about this as time goes on. So we have HTML5, CSS, Bootstrap, all of them, they are the client-side coding. So database actually look like this, look like what we are seeing now. You can see all this drum beside you, all the drum at this side here, and some other thing. We're going to see it. We have this diagram. This diagram actually explains everything that we want to do. So today we'll be moving into this first line, .NET Framework, and we'll be doing something towards ASP.NET Bootstrap. We'll be doing something along that line. We will not complete it because we have 2 weeks to finish this, but we will just touch it. It's very, very important. So what you need yourself. It's very important. You need your laptop, connectivity, and you need the working tool, which is our working studio. .NET 5, that is Visual Studio 2019, and we need MS SQL 2019. So this is how database look like. Some of us are something like this, and this is how the .NET look like. Don't be scared of the black view. Developer, we are used to that, and you too, you get used to it very well. So we have all this undo, the website, the YouTube. What we are doing today will be edited and will be put on our YouTube undo for us to be able to study more. The Instagram. So I want us to subscribe to the YouTube so that when I post the video, you see it and you can watch it. The Instagram, please go and follow us there. Facebook, go and like us, and the LinkedIn. They are all very, very good because I'm going to be putting materials there. And in this class, we are going to do 4 online training. 4 online training. How do I mean? We will not. It will not be physical. You are all going to connect online, and we will have a lecture. So we are going to do it. So what that means is that you need connectivity. So wherever you are, I'm going to send the link. You connect to it, and we'll start the lecture. So we're going to do about 4, at least 4 of it. If you cannot do 4, at least we're going to do 2 is very certain. So I will just call us. We will agree on the timing. Maybe one evening, just sit down and we'll just begin the lecture. But we're going to be purely online. The way your Zoom works, that's what we're going to do. So you will see, you have the feel of it as well. So it's very, very good. Of course, all of us as a group, you must have your group by now. So installation has been done. That's good. And the assignment has been attended to. I've seen all our assignments. Somebody posted on the WhatsApp group. I don't even know the person, but thank God it's actually apologized. That's fine. So thank you for this. This was actually last week, and we are through with that. So what I'm going to say now, or what we are going to be doing now, is all about, I'm going to now introduce what we want to do today, which is very, very important. So let me drag a screen. Let me drag a screen here now. I'm just going to leave this screen here. Now, it is important to know that programming world has evolved through many things, and is still evolving. It's still evolving, and many things are changing. People are coming in many ideas, solutions to problems, and we are all going. And that reason why, if you look at the development in about a year, if you look at 10 years ago till now, you see the improvement in the technology. It has been very, very serious, very, very high. And that reason why they will not stop, and they will begin to add more and more. So just project in the next 10 years to this time, what will happen? What are we going to be experiencing? What are we going to be seeing? How will the IT look like? And that reason why, if you are where you are now, you just have to find a way to add to whatever you are doing. Find a way to add to yourself, because it's very, very important. HTML is a language on its own, and that language was the universal language for anything that must go on the browser. What I mean by browser, you know what a browser means by now. We have Mozilla, we have Chrome, we have Firefox, we have Edge, a whole lot of them, crazy browser. We have so many browsers. Now, anything that must work on those browsers, the principle, the law that guide them is in HTML. Any languages you are designing, you must follow that HTML principle. And if you follow it, if you run your application with HTML, it will, one way or the other, work with any browser. In those days, we have so many issues. And some of the issues we have is that this one will design like this, that one like this. So if you are designing an application, you must go and test it on Chrome, test it on Mozilla, test it on Edge. You have to test it all around. But these days, in as much as all the browsers follow that law, I have so many things I'm going to be pasting here for you. This is my board. Now, we are going to be going through this thing together. Now, while we are doing our work, while we are checking this, I want us to begin to gain one or two things, add one or two things to ourselves, because it's very, very important. Now, like I said, it's a new language, and now in knowing what HTML is, some things are very important. And what are important is that you need to know what are elements. That is one. You need to know what are tags. Two. And you need to know what are attributes. Now, if you can know those three, you are on your way solving everything about HTML. Now, like I said, I'm taking it as if you don't know it. So just follow my story, you'll get me. If you know something called tag, element, tag, and attribute, that's all you need to be able to get your grip on HTML. Now, I'm going to give us example of what we call an element. Now under elements are some of those, they are the least fundamental thing about HTML. They are the least fundamental thing you need to know. Now, this is an example of elements. They are a single word, open up with less than, greater than. So, like if you see H1 is an element, H2 an element, but for HTML, for it to be an HTML language, it must be in this less than or equal, less than, greater than sign. So this is an element. So all these one now, they are elements. So H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, we have paragraph as well. They are all elements. Now, if you want to move it forward from that, some other elements that are very, very important that we use as often in development. I'm going to give us some of those examples now. Now, we have this as well. So many of them. We have A, we have D, we have span, we have strong, we have their elements. Now, if you understand what an element is, then what makes up a tag? We move it forward. What makes up a tag? Now, a tag is the combination of an element. What do I mean? If I combine an element together, then I can come up and form a tag. Now let me show us how a tag look like. So a tag look like this. So this is a complete tag now. I hope you are seeing the screen. So I have two, this is an element, this is another element. But what makes it different is that you see this sign, this slash, the slash that is here in between it is telling that this first element, open it, there are information in between, and this one close it. This open it, and this one close it. So these two together now, these two together forms a tag. So from combination of elements give us a tag. When you now have your tag, everything you write in HTML must be in between a particular tag. You cannot just type anything on a fly. You must open and close a tag inside HTML. It is very, very important. Now, HTML has improved. We have HTML 1, 2, 3, 4. I think we have HTML 5 now. That's where we are. Now, if you understand what a tag is, then what are attributes? Attributes is, now, when you now have your tag, and you now want to be saying, okay, this tag has head, it has tail, it has this, it has that. That's where the attribute comes in. You now begin to define, okay, this tag, I want it to be big or small, yellow, green. Tag, it is where we are now going to be putting those attributes. Do you see the three now? So, if you can understand the element, tag, and attribute, you are done with HTML. I hope you are getting what I'm saying now. That's all you need to know about HTML. Now, let me now merge them together. I'm going to merge them together now and see what we used to have. So, I'm going to merge them together. So, in merging them together, let me say you have something like this. Class, can you see this? Can you see this? So, which one is element? Which one is element? Which one is attribute? Which one is element? Which one is type? Which one is attribute? Can you see it? Okay, I'll continue. So you can see this your A that is green here. This A that I close here, that is your element. Now, this A that I open here, that is closed here, and the other A that is here, that is the tag. You can see that in between my tag I have dot dot dot, meaning that there will be something in between them definitely. So this A that is open here and the A here that I close at this point. Can you see my cursor? I don't know if you can see. That is the attribute. That is the element and the tag. Now the attribute is now this ref, the one in between here, the one in between this ref. That is ref is equal to this. That is the attribute. Now, what that one is saying that I want this to go to somewhere. I want this to be. So your attributes will be in between them. So each time you see a single line of HTML, you see an element, you see the tag, you see the attribute, you see the attribute complete. So this is a simple HTML code. Now, let me make it much more interesting. Let's say we want to now say, okay, how does the standard HTML look like? The standard HTML. That means HTML me and you see. Or if I open somebody's website today, there's combination of many things. But the standard, the how will I call it? The combination, when we combine element, tag, and attribute together, and we form the simplest format. What is that simplest format? Now let me give it to us. Now the simplest format looks like this. Looks like this. Now the standard format of a particular HTML. All HTML documents are required to have a particular structure, and the structure is you must have your document type, which is your HTML. You have to tell the compiler or the browser that this symbol is HTML, that is document type. Then it will follow with the HTML tag open, followed by a head and a body. That is all. That is the list format. I'm joining it together now. I'm going somewhere. So you can see that it's a combination of all these ones are just element. So they are all elements. Now let me complete them by adding their other parts to them to make them a complete tag. So for me to complete them, to make them a complete tag, I'm going to be having something that looks like this. Something that looks like this. Where is my cursor again? Okay. I'm going to be having something that looks like this. We are now moving to the next line. Okay. So this is, you can see, I'm telling the document or the browser that, okay, the document type is HTML. I said that my HTML, I'm going to write it in English because we have so many languages. Yours can be in German, French, or whatever. It's English. So I have a header. You see that the head is complete. This is a tag. I have this one complete. Body. This is a tag. Now this HTML that I have on top here, I have the other leg open, close here. Meaning every element you open, every tag must have the open and close, a complete one. So this is the list, the list fragment of a particular HTML language. So all those big HTML language you see that makes up a website, this is their fragment. So I've been able to relate all this together to give us what we need to know about HTML. Now, when you have done this list fundamental arrangement of HTML components, now what follow, or the next thing, is for you to do what we call to go ahead and do, let's do our first application on HTML. I'm going to do mine here. I'm going to give you the same code, and I want you to do the same thing. Now, class, follow me. I'm going to be doing mine here. So what I want you to do is that I have a code here. I'm going to show us from this one, from what's on the screen now. I want to give us the first sample code of HTML. This is how it looks like. If I'm dropping something now. I just drop this. Now, let me show us. Of course, I've explained the document type. Now, from our document type, English. Now, I open the header tag. I open the header tag, and I close the header tag. Header tag is open. This is header tag open here. Please look at this. And I close the header tag. Now, there are some parameters that we used to put inside the header tag. One of them is this meta. Meta is used by browser, telling the browser that the character that I'm going to be writing is in FUT8. Is a universal language. Just leave it. And that reason why you can see that this one is an element. His own tag, his own element, you don't close it. Just leave it. And the same way, if I want to put my website, I want Google to see my website, I'm going to use this tag. It's a global searching whatever. So there's a way we use that. I'm going to get there. And I put something called, I create an title. I said hello world. I put those two inside the open and close of an heading. Now, moving on from there, I now open inside my body. I open the body tag and I close the body tag. I said, I create an H1. I said, hello world. This is a web page. I put it in a paragraph. Now, all these elements I've shown us before. I can always copy all of it and drop it for us. Let me see. Okay, let me see. If I scroll up and I'm showing us, okay, you can see some of the elements I've shown us before. I can copy it and drop it for us. Now, this is a typical web sample. Now, what I'm going to do now to show us how it looks like, I'm going to open a notepad on my system. Notepad on my system, and on that notepad I drop that code that I paste now for you to see. Notepad, the same code. I'm going to drop the code now on the group. So if you're on the group now, you're going to receive the same code I have here. So I just send the same code to the group now. This is what I have. So on the notepad, so what I did next is that I want to save this notepad. I want to save it. I'm saving it as, look at what I'm doing now. I'm saving the notepad as, I said, okay, save it on my desktop. And I call it my first, my first website. That's what I do. And I now put dot HTML in the front. My first website. You can call it any name. Don't use just your name. And I put .html in the front immediately. I save it. Immediately I save that, my system will pick it. Let me go and bring it out for us. You will see what my system have turned it to. All right, my first website. Okay, I'm going to minimize these as well. So let me bring that out. I'm bringing what I saved. So when I save it, it turned out to be something like this to my browser. So if I double click on this, it will open somewhere. So what it opens to is what I'm bringing now. See what I have. See what I have. So if you can do this, successfully, you've actually written a web. This is a simple web page. Can you see it? Did you do what I just did? Save it as, give it a name, but that name .html at the front. You know, if you want to save something now, you save as, you now give it a name, but don't save that name alone. You must put that name .html and save it. Then go and look at where you save it and try to open it. It will open like this for you. Now, when you look at the top here, you see hello world. That is your title. The same way inside your code here, you see we have a title, hello world. In fact, I can break this thing into two from my side here. So I can break it into two so you can see the two screens from my side here. If your system can do it, fine. Now, this is the hello world. Now, that is the title, the one on top here. Now, the big hello world that you are seeing here is the one inside here, the one that is of A1. You see, H1. We now have H1 hello world, and this is my web page. You see the two of them. So, everything, what this one is telling us, everything you put inside the head may not show in the website. What we show there, it is only what is inside the title. That's what we show. but everything that is in the body, in the proper tag, will show. Now, moving on from this now, I now want to add something to that. I want to add something to that. So what am I adding? I want you to see what I want to do, and please go ahead and do it as well. From that page that you have, if you've been able to do this, that means you should clap for yourself, because you've been able to do your first website. I want to add something to that. I'm coming. If I come to it, I copy the P tag. I copy it, and I come to the edge here. I enter. I duplicate it. It's instead of me having this is my website, and I say this is my website that do the same thing. This is my website that I did by my website that I did by myself. This is my that I did by myself, and I save it. I save it again. I click save. I go to my web. I go back to my browser, and I refresh it. I should have it. This is my web page that I did by myself. So, arranging many of these things together will definitely give you a website. So, can you do that now? Okay, that's fine. If you can do it. So, moving from this now, I'm going to be giving us our first assignment that I want us to do. So this is the assignment. I'm going to change what we have inside that tag. I'm changing it completely. I want to copy it. So I want to do something that I want all of us to do as well. I place so many information inside it. So what is the information all about? My title of that information is something about me. I want to write something about myself. So that is the title of my web page. I remove that away. So I will save it now with something else. Let me save it as my second website. My second website .html. Then I'll save it to my desktop. I've called that one my second website. So let me see when I refresh that, what am I going to have? My second website. Where is it? My second website. Let me bring it here. So that is it. I just open it. Now, if you see this now, I've added something to it. If I make it maybe like 200%, you should be able to see this very well. So see what I've just done on my own web page. So I want, if you've seen this, that means you've successfully built a simple website for yourself. Moving from what we know now. So we've been able to use just Notepad to achieve all this. Now, somebody will ask me that, is this comfortable using Notepad like this? I'm going to say no, it's not comfortable to use Notepad like this. That is the reason why we now have what we call some code editors. Code editors. So those code editors now make life very easy. But before we move to code editors, I want to show us something. Now, I want to do some editing, a little thing to this. All that we are doing now is HTML. HTML. That's what we are doing. Now, there are some tags, they are single tag. What I mean by single tag is that, okay, let me say they are elements, they are single. When you use them single. We don't combine them to make a tag. I'm going to show you some example of them. I'll copy it now and I'll drop them. So we have quite some of them. I'll show us how few of them work. So see this. I want you to see this. We are moving on. Okay. Where is this? All right. So I'm pasting them now. Now some of these tag that are displayed now, they work alone. They are single. This is how you have to use them. The BR, the embed, the HR, the input. This is how you use them. Let me show us an example. Let me say I want to use this one, underline. This is an underline. Now, if I come to this my what's about me, and I want to underline the first line, this what you need to know about me, I want to underline it, and I come under here, I put an arrow, a space, and I use the HR anchor. That's what I use. I just put a HR anchor. If I save this, and I come to refresh this, you see, it will draw a line there. You see what I've just done? So I just draw a line. Now, let's say I want to create a space in between this thank you. Thank you should have a space. It shouldn't be very close to the other ones. Now, that is when we are going to be using this BR. This is breaking, is a space to break. I copy it. All of them has what they use them for. So I just want to use that now. So if I go back to my page, where is it? If I go back to my page and I come to where I have, this is thank you. This is my thank you at the last page here. It's too close to the real thing. So let me just like put a space. I come under here and I use that BR, the BR. The BR means please break, put a break here, put a space here. I save it. If I refresh, you see my thank you, it has dropped down. So there are so many notations that I now begin to have to make it okay. Okay, now I say you should write the two anthem now. By the time you finish writing the first one, you must be able to separate it that okay, this is the second one now. There must be a space in between. There must be, this one must not have heading. You have to add some beauty. So if I'm reading it, I know that this one has stopped, this one continue. Because each of these, that P actually means paragraph. I'm going to give us a material that explains in detail the name of all those things for us. So if I maximize this page now, this is what I'm going to be having. If I maximize, you see what I'm having now. So you can begin to, I'm able to do this because I have some of this notation that help us to do it. If I want to add image, if I want to add input, if I'm adding a link, I'll show us an example. If I want to add a link, I give us one example before initially. Let me go back to it and I'll bring it down. Let me show you how that one is. That one is like a ref. If I want to add the link, maybe I want to add the link to another page. Okay, I'll show you how that one looks like now. I'm coming. Okay. Where is this? So let me say under my thank you, I want to put a break. I want to put a break, and I want to refer you to maybe another website somewhere. Then I'll come here. Now, this ref, you should remember I've explained it to you before. This is an attribute, and I said, my company website. Now, if I use this one here, because of the ref anchor, let me save it. I just save it, bring up my browser, and I roll this. You can see what I'm having now. It's telling me I want to go to another website. Because I've added an attribute to data. This attribute, what is the attribute? Let me show us again. I've added an attribute to it. And the attribute now will now make it possible for me to go to another page. Okay? Yeah, come, let me break it again. So, this is the attribute. I've said, this is the attribute I added to it. I just use an attribute now, this attribute. The one, you can see my small, I open my my anchor, the A, and I close it. But inside it, I put an attribute that this A, go and reference a particular website. That's what this one is for. I'm going to drop this code now on that page, so that when you run it on your system, just copy this code, put it on your browser, and give it another name. Give it another name when you drop it. Don't use it to replace what you have before. Give it another name. I just did that. So you will see I've added an anchor to the an attribute to the A, so that it will help the A. So that when I click my company website, what I should have is this one taking me somewhere. You see, it's actually loading somewhere. It has taken me somewhere now. You can see what I have. That's taking me somewhere. Of course, I can return it back. So that is how to navigate to other websites. If I click on this now, it takes me to another website. So the same manner is what we use to achieve all this name about this and that. Fine. But this one, a whole lot of things has been added. This one has involved HTML plus CSS. Where CSS now comes in is to now add beauty, add color, add shape, arrange. That's CSS for you. HTML is what we have been doing before, but to make it look like this, very beautiful, that's where your CSS now comes in. So, in other words, a single language cannot, you can't write an application or a website with a single language. It cannot fly. As we have done our CS, these are HTML now. We need to add CSS to it to make it very beautiful. But let's see if we will be able to get there. I hope you are getting this. So what I want to do now is that let me see if I can push us forward a little bit. So we've had a good experience of HTML. Now let's see what CSS is all about. We cannot add CSS on this. It's not going to fly. It will not work. So in a way of adding CSS, let me take us to a more proper place. Now, let's go into our studio. Now, we need a code editor. There are so many code editors, so many of them. We have some for Microsoft. Microsoft has some free code editor that we can use. I have some other ones, but what we are using is .NET Studio. So now, class, let's now bring up our .NET Studio. But before we do that, I want to explain something for us that is very, very important. As a developer, some things are very, very important that you need to know. as a developer, some things are very, very important that you need to know. Now that you are starting, I need to say, we don't just save documents anyhow. When you see my screen has so many icons, this and that, fine. But as a developer, we don't just save icon anyhow. There are procedure. Now, we save in a way that even if anything happened to your system, you can always retrieve it back. That's how we save. So I want you to add what I want to show us now to what we know. And I'm going to do it step by step for us to get it. What we want to do, we want to hone our .NET Studio. But before we hone it, let's create where we are going to save our application before we even start. It's very, very important. Okay, cut in again. Now, if you want to save important information henceforth, it's good to save it in a document, no problem. It's good to save it on desktop, no problem, or anywhere. But this is how we actually save in the development world, so that if anything happens to your system, you can always retrieve it. I want to go to my, how do I call it? I want to open a file on my system. Please look at what I'm doing. I open this file on my system. I open the file. You open this place for me. Just file. Now I will navigate to where my hard disk is. My hard disk is somewhere. This is my C drive. Inside your C drive, you will go there. You will go and create a file there. Go and create a file and give it a name. My save project. Yeah, everybody do. Because I have mine already. Inside your C drive, go and create a file there. My save project. So that when you have saved it inside there, then I will now show us the next thing. I'm returning this. I hope you get what I've just explained again. Now, I haven't done everything you're supposed to do. Now, look at the screen. I want us to go and click this sign. See my arrow here. See where my arrow is. You have it on your system. You must have it now. I'll put it in our taskbar. Look at the screen and do what I'm doing. I want you to go and click this. You just click it from your side. Yeah, click it. When you click it, it's going to load a page for you. It will load do what I'm doing on your system. Just look at me and be doing it. It will load this page for you. This is our Visual Studio 2019. It will load it for you. The next thing you do is that we want to create a new project. So click on create new project. So when you create a new project page will open like this. Now, when it opens, what we want to do is that we want to create a web form application. Now we are using a full framework. You might have heard that before. Full framework. In our last lesson, I showed what a full framework is. A full framework is what we are using. So you change the first column, click the arrow that is here, change it to C#. Change the arrow that is here. I hope you are seeing what I'm doing. Change it to C#. The second one, go and select it. You go and scroll, look for Windows, because you can do multiple languages here. You can do multiple things inside this studio, but what we are dealing with now is Windows. So click on Windows. Now, when you click on Windows, I hope you are following me. The next tab, you go and check on it, click on Web. Click on Web. So we have so many things there. You can see mobile, office, plugin. Just scroll down. Scroll down very well, you see web there. Click on web. Are we all there? Are we all there? You just follow me in clicking. You get what I'm doing. Are we all there? Now, if you have the C#, the Windows, and the web set up, the next thing you do is that we have so many applications we can develop with this setting that we have. I've mentioned to us ASP.NET Core before. You might have heard it before. That was last week. You can do it. You see, Blazor, you can do it. You can do a whole lot of things. You can do ASP.NET Core, Web App, MVC. What I've seen it last week, I show us, and the preview that I do today. But what we are doing is full framework. So I'm scrolling down. I'm scrolling down to where I'm going to see full framework. That is what we are dealing with. So I have ASP.NET Web App.NET framework. That is what we are using. So scroll down till you get to ASP.NET Web Application .NET framework. Have you seen it? That is what we are dealing with. That's what we are working with. So I click on it. Just click on it once and come and click on next. Click on it, come and click on next. If you click on next, it will take you to another page telling you to configure your new project. Configure your new project. Now, to me, I'm going to call it, so that project name, like I said, single word, no space, single word. I will call it my first website. I don't know. Yeah, I'll give it a name. My first website. My first website. That is the project name. So, single word. Now, come to the location. On that location, what I want you to do is that come and click the dot in the front here. There's a dot in the front. There's one dot in the front. Click on that dot. You will now navigate to that your folder that you create inside your hard disk. Navigate to it. That folder that you create inside that hard disk, navigate to it. I have my folder here. So I have my first Visual Studio. My first Visual Studio that was created inside. So navigate to it. When you get there, double click on that folder. Click on the folder. So the folder will open. Double click on it, open the folder. Have you opened it? So when you are done, come down and click select the folder. There's something called select the folder here. Click on it. I hope you are following me. So I just select my folder. If you select your folder, it will return you back to this place. And you see your location. It will have written the address for you. You see the location, it will have written the address for you. See this and this, it will write the location properly for you. Are you getting me? Now, solution name. Under your solution name, he has written the same project name. He has written it there. What I'm going to do if it is me, I will now put _training. I put _training. I add it to that project name. That is under solution name. So my solution name is now my first website _training. That's my solution name. My first website _training. So do the same thing. Are you getting it? Now, followed by is asking you place this solution and project in the same directory. For now, no, don't check it. Don't check it. Now, the next one is asking you the framework. this project you want to do, which framework do you want to use? It's giving us, it has recommended 4.6.1 for us. Or what do we have there? The same thing? 4.7.2. He's telling me 4.6.1. If I drop down here, I have a whole lot of framework. So let's be on the same pace. 4.7.2. Are you getting me? All right. I just pick 4.7.2. So everybody will be on the same pace. So it's telling me that even if I want to write 4.5, 4.51, all of them are possible. But this time, this stage, this age we have, you cannot write anything lesser than 4.6.1. No. The least you can write, because of as at today, the framework version stop at 4.8. This is where it stop. It is the ASP.NET core that has moved to 5.0 and even higher. This one will not get to 5.0, they will stop it here. What they are saying that way, in the next 5 years, this programming, this framework, they may not support the older one again. They'll be supporting maybe the last 3 or thereabouts. This framework is going bit by bit. They move everybody to .NET Core. So if I'm to train you now, give you the full training, I'll be training you with .NET Core. But for the sake of the training, for the beginner, I'm doing .NET Framework. This is what we used to do before now till 2020. This is what we used to do. It is in 2022 that they launched the full-fledged of .NET Core that we are. So your studio I'll install for you is 2019. If you want to upgrade it now, you can only upgrade it to 2022, which is the latest. I am not working with the latest now. I'm working with 2019. We are even using the same thing. So I pick 4.7.2 and I said create. So click create. If you click create, it will take you to another form again. It will now be telling you this form you want to write. Is it web form? Is it MVC? Is it web app? You remember all this language last week? Do you remember them? What we are dealing with is web form. Some people used to do empty projects. I don't do it for now because I want the system to set some things for me. I don't always use empty, but I use now he has picked the web form for us. Now don't tick anything again at this form for now. Just leave it. The next thing you do, you just come and click create. When you click on create, it will load and load and load based on your system to come up with your page. So at this point, I can welcome you to .NET Visual Studio. Now, what I want you to do for the very first time, because your system is not, there's something called SSL. I explained it last week, SSL. You see this S here. That is the Ssl certificate. You can have some site with HTTP : without that S. Google will be telling you the site is not secure. But immediately you put this S there, it makes it secure. It's an Ssl certificate. That S alone, to buy it on .NET, to buy it, you have to buy it and install it. That reason I tell some people, let me quickly give us some rundown. Let's just do something here. Because of, if I run this now, it's going to pop out and the Ssl certificate. Let me show us. I'm going to run this now. I click on the button here. There's a button here that shows play. Now that button, I don't know what you are seeing. It must be showing your browser. If I click, there's a arrow down button beside it. If you click that arrow button, you must see your browser inside it. If you didn't select your browser, mine has select my Firefox. Yours must also select your browser because you must browse with something. Now, do you have a browser? So if I click it, it will load and run with my browser. So when it loads now, If you are learning for the first time, it will take some time because you will build in some prerequisites. Now you are going to see something like this for the first time, telling you that you have a certificate that is not installed. It's very small, but I wish I can make it big. Then you can see what I'm saying. Okay, the address is not even big, but I want you to run to your system so you can see what I'm saying. You have HTTPS telling us that there's a certificate that is missing. If it is online, is that you buy the certificate or you remove it? That certificate, if you're, let me give you, okay, don't worry, maybe I'll say that. That is very, very important these days. A site that have that certificate, that security is secure. You can even use your ATM, whatever on it. But site that doesn't have it, there may be issue. Now, all these things are very, very important. Let's scroll down. What I'm going to do, I'm reading something here. Yeah, look at your system. When you scroll down, we have this apply server setting to all user something. Under it, you see another one, project URL. Are you seeing it? Under URL, you see the HTTPS something. Now, go there, remove that S. I want to remove the S alone. Or, better still, is in two ways. I can do the override application wherever root. If I click on that check button, it can overwrite it with this, but don't worry about that one. Go to that S. Remove only the S away from that thing. Click on the front, remove the S alone away, and now click create virtual directory that is in front of it. You see the S, remove only the S away, and go and click the create virtual directory. Do you get me? Do you get me? On that line, only the S. Don't remove the dot, only the S. Then click create virtual directory. It will tell you successful. The minute you are able to do that, that means you've removed the security for now, for you to be able to work on your local system. So after you have done that, go and click save button. Save is up there. Save it. Save this file. There's a save up there. There's one save up there. If you have removed the S, you have clicked the create virtual directory, go and save it. By the time you save it, have you saved it? Then close this file. You don't need it again. Close this file. So on closing that file, you see you have this page. Then run the application again. If you have saved it, just run the application again. Everything should work perfectly now. You shouldn't have any error now. So this will launch you into the application. So it will pick some prerequisites, do something online, check something. If your system is connected, fine. And to just bring up your first page. Now, that your folder that you create, by next week or by next term, let me show you from my own side. I have my folder. I want to drag my folder here so that you can see it. Now see, I created a folder called CTS CSV. That's my main folder. Inside it, I have a folder called my first Visual Studio. If I click on that folder, I have my training. You can see what I'm saying. If I click on it again, I'll see these files inside it. This is the Visual Studio. So that if I click on this Visual Studio, something that looks like Visual Studio face, it should load my application for me. It just loads it here. I'll drag it here for you to see. So please do the same thing. So what I'm saying is that by the time you close everything, if you want to open it back, you can always go back to that your folder and you can open it from there. Did you get me? If you close out your Visual Studio that you open now, close it. Now go to that your Visual Studio folder inside your hard disk. Go and open it from there. It will open it back. That's what I'm saying. I think that one is good. I think that's good. All right, so that's very good class. I think we are good for today. God helping us.